Well, another random video. Well, I've been out here. It's been quite interesting, quite good, and been obviously still running my business and whatnot from here as it can run remote. However, being here and realising and seeing that a lot of people, even if they wanted to start an online business, if they were in I'd say the same position as I was, relatively, here, like in comparison to I guess the disparity of wealth distribution or class or whatever the case may be, them trying to start if they were in the same position, again, relatively, then like just seeing how much harder it would have been for them to even reach half of where I've reached based off of just simple infrastructures and sort of systems being very flawed here. And when I say flawed, I'm talking more about like just power and electricity and things. The fact that you can pay for electricity and not actually get it, and you may not look at that as something that's important, but for me especially, when I was starting out, the importance of just having electricity, if it was something that I didn't have, I think I would realise the importance of having it, and just even the like a simple thing like that, like electricity going out at the wrong time and me not being able to connect to the internet or something, or maybe like I can still connect to the internet, I can use a hotspot, but eventually it running out of charge and me not being able to charge my phone or my laptop, and then the knock-on effects of that on a consistent basis would have just completely, likely completely cooked a lot of the things or messed up a lot of the things that I was doing or trying to do or whatever, which me now looking at Nigeria and seeing the people here and seeing like sort of how hard they work. Some people may argue that they don't work hard or they're lazy or they're this and that, but I'll be honest, a lot of the things that people do here just to get by, like the amount of effort and work they put in is like people don't sort of put that in the UK or need to put that in the UK. And to be honest, I'm not even saying that from a point of, oh, it's made me realise how tough life is and all that, because everybody has their own struggles. It's not as if there's not struggles in the UK. It's not as if I didn't have struggles as well growing up or whatever. But again, this is all relative. And if I was here, and like I'm sure I would have figured out a way, but even thinking of a way out, so to speak, because even while being in the UK, the whole idea was trying to find a way out. Trying to find a way out here, I'd say, is like almost 10x the difficulty, purely because of just that one part when it comes to electricity and not having it constantly, like 24/7. And also speaking to my cousin and him saying that the mentality here even is like, people will ask you like, what do you need 24-hour electricity for? And it's just like that's sort of a ridiculous question, and it's even a question you wouldn't necessarily ask. And then even trying to explain to people why it's like what you can do with 24-hour electricity, even though it may seem small and minuscule or unimportant, it's like the amount of I'd say wealth that would have been accumulated in this country is like there obviously already is, but I think that gap between rich and poor or working class here would definitely be a lot smaller, and just that ability for people to make money online in an easier manner because they have constant electricity would then allow the country as a whole to just actually get better quicker, to be honest. There's definitely been improvements since I was last here like 9 years ago, but to be honest, there's still so much that I look at and I think like this is just poor, like this is just really bad, like did anybody even think before doing this? And then realising actually no, there was no planning, there was no infrastructure thought, there was just someone that decided, oh, I want to build this, so they build it with no real planning. And then, for example, the area I'm in just now, if it rains, it just floods, like, which isn't really normal, to be honest. Their gutters and drainage system and all that is just like not great. It's rubbish. So it just floods when it rains, which ain't even Like that's not like if that's just down to which it is, just down to bad planning or not really having a idea of right, we're going to build it like this so that this doesn't happen. It's quite poor, to be honest. And then even the roads and things, a lot of the roads here, it's the community that has to sort of build their own road in front of their houses and in their estate and things, which I find a bit nuts as well. And then, yeah, the main roads and things, I guess the driving and things ain't that bad. There's definitely worse. I've seen worse, and it used to be worse as well. However, even just sort of accidents and things that happen here would likely not happen if they just had a bit better sort of infrastructure and system when it comes to like making sure, for example, the big tankers and that are carrying petrol or diesel or whatever they're carrying are a bit safer, and maybe they have like specific roads they can go down, and maybe roads built not just for them but just to make sure that they actually make it from one destination to the other without accidents. And I'm sure accidents don't happen like all of the time, but in the short period of time I was here, it was an accident and caused just caused a catastrophe, to be honest. Big tanker exploding and the people inside going with it. I think that's insane, to be honest. Like, you don't really hear or see that in the UK. If it happens, it might do, but even if there's a like crash, I don't think I've ever seen like an explosion, and maybe I'm just not privy to it. But yeah, it's because obviously there's better safety, better roads, better routes, etc. Here it's just almost every man for themselves, and I'll be honest, it might create that competitive nature, which is good, but if that competitive nature also comes with a side of catastrophe, then I think you probably want to just chill a little bit. I know I've waffled a lot, however, I'd say from just being here, realising the importance of planning ahead and making sure that when you are planning ahead, you do think of as many possibilities as possible, so that when you get to those points, you're able to maneuver very easily. And having good systems, and when you have those good systems, eventually, at least from what I can sort of see ahead, or what I think currently, is once you do have that good system, once you do have that good infrastructure and processes and whatever it is, and this is more so in business, and depending on what sort of business you're in, obviously, I'd still say systems, processes and all that are very important, but once you actually have them, I think at that point it comes down to now really taking your, I guess, product and only pushing it to people who are, I guess, high ticket, or people that are willing to spend a lot of money, because those that do spend the most, and client-wise and things, tend to have the least problems. They just sort of give you the money and you get on with what you need to get on with. They pay on time, they pay well, and there's no real hassle or questions because you're able to actually fully implement what you want to implement. However, if it's people that are sort of not able to pay out as much, because we do work on performance based, if they're not able to pay out as much because the results they're bringing in doesn't allow us to be able to bring in the results we would need to, then it's like it's a lot more difficult to even manage that, because now their expectations are as high as the person who's who has the environment for it to really run properly when your system's implemented, versus someone who's like, yes, your system's implemented and it's still good, however it doesn't look as good as it does, and when you're working with sort of clients that are sort of higher ticket, so to speak. I think that goes the same for like editing and everything else. If they are sort of on the cheaper side, I think it's a lot more difficult for you to be able to make it look amazing, because they're going to nitpick and they're going to want everything so perfect, whereas someone else, they probably, even if they're giving you old content or things, they probably already had a good camera or something, or whatever the case is. Like, it's just a lot easier and they don't ask for as much, and you're able to really perform on that and really like show off your editing skills, versus someone just constantly saying they want it this way or that way or this specific, they want that look and that and this and that, and they don't let you get on with what they've essentially hired you to get on with. it just makes it makes life more difficult. And if they're not paying on time, it just makes it more difficult. And if just there's loads of things you could sort of go on. It just makes things more difficult for you and to be able to bring results. But yeah, I guess you do technically need to work with. I don't think you actually do need to work with people who sort of have bad attitudes and understandings and aren't ready to really invest, I guess, in themselves, because I'd say that's all it is. They're not willing to spend that money because they know deep down that even them spending that, they aren't necessarily good enough to spend that, and them spending that, it just means that all of their eggs are in that basket, that this thing is going to solve all their problems when it isn't. They just didn't start off well, to be honest, and then they just want to sort of outsource something to people, and they hope that they can just wave a magic wand and fix all their problems, which is never going to happen. But again, I've rambled on a little bit. Main point, again, which I speak about, I'd say mainly, is just having good systems, having good processes, and then from there, as soon as you have them, just go straight to just forget everything or anyone who's difficult to work with, because you don't need to work with them, to be honest. I'd say there's a lot of people out there, and there's way more people out there than you can probably even manage yourself, that are more than willing to really take on your system, let you implement it, and not really discuss much, and they pay on time, they pay well, etc. So just that's where the focus would go. So I guess the building the systems of the processes and things for your actual service delivery comes first, or as once that's down pat, then you want to build out a process or a system for attracting high value clients or clientele, whatever you want to call it. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, whatever you want to call it, to be honest. Yeah, just focusing on that, and that will change your business and make your life easier, and actually allow you to be able to really thrive, and make show that your process or system that you've derived works well, and can bring in the results that they want. Yeah, I've probably waffled and rambled so much. However, hope you took something from that. Sure you did, and yeah, call it a day.